What's happening, everyone? Back with another one. Soccer Beat. Let the beat do the talking. The boys are back again. Tsepo Masilela, Cheezboy Mokoena, guys. Thanks for joining me again. Got some cool things to talk about. How you been, Cheesy?
All good, Mikey. All good. But greetings to the Soccer Beat lovers, man, and the viewers. Hello.
Tseps, all good?
All good, Mikey. All good. No problem by my side.
Awesome, guys. Today's show, we're going to be discussing the viral video that has just gone around now of Keagan Dolly talking about all his issues at Kaizer Chiefs and what transpired there while he was there. Was actually brought to our attention by one of our passionate fans of Soccer Beat, Chief Disappointment at Scotty28, actually tagged us in a tweet talking about this Keagan video that went viral. And he's actually referring to a conversation we had a couple episodes ago where we talk about the lack of experience in the Kaizer Chiefs team. So we'll get into all that stuff in the show. But before we do that, the winners to our last Soccer Beat competition, we'll be announcing the winners right now in the overlay, and we'll check you guys in a bit.
And it's congratulations to our latest winners of the Soccer Beat hamper right here on Soccer Beat. Asharisto at Asharisto1, as well as Kamuchelo at Kamuchelo 1071822, as well as Zenande Silumko. Congratulations to the three of you. You can be a winner too. Simply keep it locked to our socials for all the competition details. Standard T's and C's apply.
Awesome, guys. So if you guys are following us on all the social media platforms, you will have the opportunity to win so many more things with Soccer Beat. Mm-hmm. There will be more merchandise giving away this week. So make sure you're following us on Instagram, Facebook, X, all of the platforms. We're giving away lots of stuff, guys. So make sure you followed and subscribe. So today's episode, guys, Keagan Dolly statements. He made an interview that's been doing the rounds all over the internet. We're going to interrogate those statements. We've got a Kaizer Chiefs legend here. He's going to be able to dive into a lot of the nitty-gritty of the Kaizer Chiefs situation. So the first thing that I pull from that interview, guys, is the fact that Keagan says, I'm not the only one to blame at Kaizer Chiefs. He mentions a couple things that didn't work out, but that he's not necessarily the only one to blame. Tips, you know Chiefs very, very well. What other kind of things could he be talking about? What other things could be going under the surface at Kaizer Chiefs that the fans don't know about that maybe Keagan's referring to in this interview?
Mikey, in my opinion, when the team wins trophies, like things go to everyone, the ones that made the signings, the office, the management, the coach, So when things go sour, it can't only be him alone. I think he's just touching on that point that, they have to look at everyone. It's not Keagan, and he was not playing alone. He didn't do the signings. He didn't choose the coach, So I think it's more of like a team thing, So if you look at Chiefs and when everything went wrong, everyone was looking at him because apparently was the highest paid player and all those things, and he got injured, and injuries were a problem to him. But yeah, I would agree with him, So you can't really pinpoint at one individual in a team sport. Like it's a team and it's a collective work.
Yeah, I think we all know the inner structures of Kaizer Chiefs is obviously a family-run club. We got Bobby, we got Kaizer, we got Jessica, everyone running the club there. Cheesy, I mean, what are your other factors do you think's contributing to what Keagan is calling the downfall of Kaizer Chiefs?
Gosh, man, it's actually sad, man, because Keagan has been around. He's done so much in South African football. I think coming from abroad, it always brings pressure, and I think he's one of those guys that were just very unfortunate that when he got to the club, he had a couple of key players. Obviously, when you move to a club, Mike, you tend to look around who's there that you can actually make combinations and people that you actually understand the way you play. So I think Keagan was really let down by the management. Because at the end of the day, I think they put too much pressure on him. And as a footballer, like Tsepo said, it's a team sport. Even if you have the armband on, but you still should have other leaders around the field, to try, because you cannot do everything alone. So I'm saddened by it, a very sad story. But also I look at it as Chiefs making Keagan Jesus Christ. The poor boy was sacrificed, man. He was sacrificed in Fana, like seriously, I mean, carrying
Yeah,
all that weight
it's quite
of
a
a
common
big
thing to
club.
when we say in football that that we're blaming management. But Tips, you actually know what are the decision structures at Kaizer Chiefs? Who's actually making the calls there? I mean, with Bobby and Kaiser there, who's pulling the strings there behind the scenes?
Since I've left Chiefs, Mike, there's been changes because you have now Kaizer Junior. That's your sporting director currently, and I think if you're a sporting director, your role is big in the team. You involved in new signings and recruitments and getting of the coaches. You are hands on and you're involved. In my times, I would say it was mostly maybe Bobby and the coach, because you can't really sign someone without the coach's knowledge or recommendation. End of the day, you need the coach to use the player. But again, touching on Cheese's point, maybe you can say also as a player, as an individual, I have a feeling that he also put that pressure on himself. So when you're coming from overseas, Mikey, you are playing in France, League One, and now you are here in South Africa and you join a Chief that's been struggling, not winning trophies. You want to do well as a player. You want to bring back the smiles of the fans. So I think it's not like the Kaizer Chiefs management that was saying, Keagan, you need to deliver. But I think it's the noise from outside. And also I think
Yeah,
himself, like he wanted to make this thing work so bad, and the pressure got into him. But that's my opinion.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
No,
if
I
you look
agree
at
with you.
if you look at Keegan's leadership qualities, I think this is a question I could pose to the viewers and the people that know Keegan. Did he have those qualities to actually lead a club like Kaizer Chiefs? Who took the decision to actually make him captain? Because that's going to bring a lot of pressure. Being a captain of the team, a big club like Kaizer Chiefs, and he's carrying a big salary. So obviously the pressure was going to mount. Like you're saying, the noise from outside and also internally for sure. Like this guy's earning so much. He's always injured. This guy's earning so much, but he can't complete the game. He's not scoring. They wanted to make him a Messi of the club. And a team like Chiefs, you don't have to revolve everything around one player. I think the management as well didn't really support him as a captain to give him those tools to try and help the team and try and find out the struggles that he's facing as a leader of the club. And for sure, the pressure did get to him, something he's not used to. But also, he never had anyone around him. After Thingy left, Kama left. What's his name?
Castro.
The
Yeah, so
striker.
all the guys that left, Cheesy, I mean, when we speak about recruitment, all the guys that left all at the same time, it was obviously Bernard Parker, with Castro left, Biliat left, and Nurkovic.
Yeah.
All that whole crew left within the space of, I think, about 6 months. And Keegan was probably the only one we would maybe call as a high-profile Bafana international that was really left there, besides Kune, who was not really featuring. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that speaks to the recruitment. So, if you're mentioning Kaiser Jr. is in charge of recruitment, I mean, who do Chiefs fans actually blame for all these exits out the door and no real recruitment of new players that are with the same sort of stature?
It's a tough one, Mikey, because they haven't kept the same coach for maybe 3-4 years. So it's tough to say. Do we blame Kaiser, or is he working hand in hand with coaches that is brought in the team? And there's been, to be honest, the changes of coaches has been going on, and it's something that also as a group, as a team, you don't get that stability, because you work with this coach for 6 months, then the coach leaves. Now you have a caretaker coach. The coach leaves. You have a new coach. I'm not really sure if it's Kaiser Junior alone, or it's Kaiser with the board, or Kaiser with the new coaches, or it's a tough one for me to say. Who to blame? Who makes the final call?
But I think
Yeah,
it's
but
been
do
a
you
major
not think,
problem,
like,
Tsepo.
Cheesy, if you're thinking, yeah, like at these clubs, you're never really sure
Mhm.
who's actually making the decision of who's actually purchasing the players. I mean, there's often a big problem at these clubs where is it the coach buying the players? Is it the management? How much synergy is there between the coach and the boardroom in terms of the players that they're bringing in? Cheesy, what do you think?
Yeah, mostly if I'm talking from experience, I think I'll talk from Orlando Pirates' perspective, because when players are brought in, the coach really never has a say. I mean, I think maybe the same goes with Kaizer Chiefs. Coaches never have a say on who they want. If they say they want this type of a player, they never really get the player they want. They always given the tools to use, and sometimes it's difficult that the coach is not given 100% authority in terms of the players he wants to bring in, so he's got to work with whatever that he's got. So it has to go with these big clubs that there's people behind the scenes that do all the recruitment and give the tools to the coach, and I think in the modern game, the coach has to decide who he wants in his team, who he would love to sign according to the budget of the club.
But just to chip in, Mikey, Cheezy, the sad part is if the coach has no say in the signings, then who do you blame? Who shoulders the blame when the team is not doing well? That's my question. If the coach has no clue, he rocks up on Monday, sees a new player at the training field, like, okay, guys, who's this guy? What position? End of the day, the coach's head is on the block. The coach's head is on the block. So it's a tough one. If you look,
the fans don't know that.
The fans don't know that, but the coaches that must come up and say, because your head is on the block. If I'm the coach and I get players that I don't want or I didn't have a say on, then surely you must come out and say, guys, these players are not my players.
This is the management's player. This is not my player.
Because you as a coach, your head is on the block.
Yeah.
That's always, I actually say this to a lot of the guys. Yeah, I say this to a lot of the youngsters, especially that I've played with, when I hear that they might be signing for a bigger club like a Chiefs or a Pirates. And the first thing I always say to them is, ask the coach who is signing you. Is it the coach that wants you, or is it the club that wants you? Because we know how quickly things can change and a coach can go. And is it the club that wants you, or is it the coach that wants you? And I always say to the youngsters, you must check when you're signing for these big clubs who actually wants you at the club.
Yeah, if you look at the difference, look at Sundowns. The coaches there bring the players they want. I worked with Coach Pito, Dr. Musimani himself. Whatever he wanted, he was like, okay, I'm winning, guys. I'm putting in the trophies, but now I want the Tsepo, I want the Mikey, I want the Cheesy. So he's got the say, and even if things go wrong, he knows that his head is on the block. So with other coaches, I don't think they are brave enough to come out and tell the fans that, look, I did not sign these players. I did not want even half of this team, or I can't even work with them, because it would sound like the coach is just being negative around the squad, and he might even get fired for that, for saying stuff like that, So it is what it is. Maybe some of them are just there just to add something on the CV that I've coached Kaizer Chiefs, but it's time. It's time that they get somebody that can actually try and bring in the players they need.
Yes, Cheezy.
Yeah, guys, there's so much to unpack here, and we're definitely going to unpack in the second half of this episode. We're just going to jump to a bit. Sorry, Tseps, let me not break you, cut you off there. What are you going to do?
Cheezy is talking about Sundowns and signings. Cheezy, who signed Nico Moore? Because he's never played for Sundowns, but he's a Sundowns player. Who signed Nico? Is it the coach or the... But he was signed back then. I don't know who was the coach. I don't remember. Maybe it's 4 years now. But I haven't seen him wearing a Sundowns playing jersey.
I'd say Coach Rulani. You know why I'm saying that? Coach Rulani had a stint at Chippa. He had a stint at Chippa, and I think he had a better time to work with him. He was probably one of his players that he wanted to bring in, maybe as a supporting fullback for Modao, but he's never even gotten a chance, he's already out of the club already, and he's a national team
the guy
player,
signed 4 years back before Coach Rolando was a head coach, if I'm not mistaken. He's been there, I think.
No, they're sending him yo-yo. It's like a yo-yo. They're sending him there.
So who signed the boy?
What's the point?
So who signed the boy? Okay, over to you, Mikey.
He signed himself, right?
For sure.
Guys, we have so much to unpack on this topic, but before we do, we're going to jump to a quick ad break from our incredible sponsors, Betway, and we'll see you after the break.
Lebu is stretching out and reaching high in Betway's latest game, Aviator.
Aviator?
Place a bet and the plane flies higher and higher. Pick the right time to cash out and you could win millions.
Millions?
Let's see.
Just,
Woo!
It's a shoe! He's cashed out and thrown off with the win!
All at the luckiest place to play, Aviator, Betway.
Back from the break, guys. Thank you again to Betway, the most incredible sponsor that brings you SoccerBeat. So Cheesy, back to the Dolly topic. Now that Tsepo's already called you out on the Sundowns signings. Obviously, a massive factor in the whole discussion here is this whole tagline that he was the highest earner. I mean, we've heard some crazy numbers being thrown around there. How much of a problem do you think it was that his salary was basically exposed to the public and everyone knew the kind of numbers that he was earning? With the fans, the expectation just went through the roof. How do you think that affected things?
I think that has always affected a lot of players, throughout the careers. People that have come from overseas, I'll make an example of players that came back from abroad, came to Sundowns earning big. And I mean, a contract is something private, guys, So I sometimes wonder, how does the media even get close to that? Might be a source inside the club trying to put the pressure on the player, open a window for that. If he does not perform, you guys must know that this guy's earning too much, So it does put a lot of pressure, man. But in a way, if the guy deserves to get that money, I think the club should pay him that, And obviously he's got to deliver, he's got to perform. But if it does not happen, then what happens? Who's to blame? Are you blaming that he deserves or his value is at that amount? Or are you blaming that?
See, the problem, Cheesy, was that because of this number, like the fans were, when the guy was injured for like a couple of weeks, and they're like, you can't be injured because you're earning so much money. Just because you're earning a lot of money, like, doesn't stop you from getting injured. Like,
True that, Mikey. I mean, it's a typical example with Keagan. When he came back, I think he also had gained a bit of weight. He's a little bit chubby, a little bit big. He had to cut down a bit. It took him a bit of time. And at that time, the club is not concerned about that. They're thinking, hey, we are giving this guy half a bar. We're giving this guy so much. He should be on the field running, Otherwise, we're just taking our money to waste, So, yeah, man, a very sad one, man, for Keagan, how everything panned out for him.
Tips, has it ever been, have you ever had experience where, like, there's this dynamic in a dressing room where the guys will say, like, this guy's a very high earner, but he's not playing, or he's not playing very well, and then you get all the other players saying like, "Hey man, come on, look, he's like earning all this money, but look at what he's doing on the field." Have you ever experienced that in a dressing room?
No, not really, Mikey. In my time, I didn't really experience that. But again, as my coach, Coach Steve Compella would say, blessings and burdens are cousins. The more you bless, the more burdens you have to carry you alone. So, but I've never experienced that, Mikey. But it's there, even in Europe. Once you're a record signing, or most of this, signing Pogba when he went back to Man U, everyone was looking at him with that price tag. Like they don't look at Pogba as a player; they look at Pogba and the money they paid for Pogba. That becomes a burden on the player. And once your salary, it's been revealed on the papers, even though they're speculating, people look at you in a different way, like who is on a XY amount, So he surely should be scoring hat tricks every weekend, but it's never like that in football. And Cheesy said contracts are private, but they private here in South Africa. Yes, you're right, Cheesy. Only here in Mzansi.
Yeah, man. Because Peter and Ndlovu faced the same thing, Mikey. If you guys recall, when Peter came back from the EPL, when he came to join Sundowns, he was the highest earner at Sundowns, But the guy delivered, guys. So I would say, what is the difference? Is it the mentality, or is it the club, or is it the teammates? Are you surrounded by quality teammates? Because I don't believe as an individual you can carry the whole club alone. You need those certain individuals to actually try and help you with your game as well, But like Keagan said, he just said that he just had guys that just didn't give, for the game. They just didn't have that for the game, So it's a tricky one, what happened to him, because at the end of the day, Mikey, in fact, Mikey, I expect Mikey to have the same quality or almost close to my quality so that we can help the team. But imagine I pass you the ball, Mikey, you can't even control. So I can't pass you and control for you and move and make decisions for you. Job very difficult, my guy.
No, I can imagine from Keagan's point of view, when he first came back to to Chiefs and that dressing room that he walked into with the likes of Castro and Billiat and all the rest. And then you're looking at that front three with Nurkovic and you're thinking Nurkovic, Dolly, Billiat. Like, that's a very powerful front three. And then he comes back in like the next season and all those players are gone. And then I do understand where he says he took on too much and he forgot his own game. Like, can you sympathize with that, Cheesy? I mean, like, he looks like he has yet to take it all on his shoulders.
Yeah, I can sympathize with him, man, Mikey. I mean, Mikey, it's especially for a big club at Chiefs, man. I think the pressure of just wearing that jersey, Tsepo will tell you, but just wearing that jersey of that big club, it's pressure on its own. So now imagine when you're starting to lose the key players or the guys that you normally, we all got these guys that we like to link up with on the field. Even if you probably before you moved, I was like, okay, Kama's there, Nokovic is there. Yeah, most probably I'll enjoy my game with these guys. And all of a sudden, once you're starting to get your feet, these guys are gone. So what happens to you? And all these other players that come in are looking up to you because you're the guy that comes from overseas. You're the top earner. You played for big clubs in the country. So yeah, it was just too much for him, and I sympathize with Keagan because he's a quality player, man. I played with him at Sundowns, and at some stage, they had that CBD, that front three that was really deadly, So I was hoping that when he got to Chiefs, he can get that spark back. It took about a time to adjust, But there were days when it do very well. It scores critical goals, set pieces. It got a brilliant left foot, man. It was just unfortunate for him that things panned out the way it panned out at Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about it, Tips, obviously, Chiefs also in the last couple of years have lost that fear factor where, I mean, you come up against a Chiefs team and you think, wow, you're in for a day here. They're going to dominate the ball. They're going to dominate the game. I mean, yeah, Chiefs, I think they lost that fear factor. And the fact that, Keagan Dolly was leading that line with maybe not as a potent attack, how much more difficult would that have been for him? I mean, the kind of pressure that you play under for Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah, very, very difficult, Mikey. As you said, they've lost that fear factor, because with Chiefs, you knew when you're playing against Chiefs, already before the game, you're thinking like, ooh, they coming at us. These guys they have the quality, they have the players. They kind of lost that a bit, and yeah, and joining that Chiefs, that hasn't won trophies in years, Mike. It's a burden. It becomes too much on players. I also see the young boys, the Vilagazi, the Tshabalala, they would talk about, how people are looking at them and they thinking they can save Chiefs, Kaizer Chiefs. But if that's not the case, you need the youngsters to integrate them gradually and let them grow with the game and gain their confidence. But right now at Chiefs, there's no time to. But it's just a sad story how it ended with Keagan because one hell of a player. He didn't make it. He didn't move to France by mistake. He moved there because of his quality and he moved there on merit, in my opinion. I also had maybe 1 or 2 games with him at Bafana, and I could tell that what a player he is. And next big Bafana player. That's football for you, Mikey.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's a good way to wrap it up. And just my last question is, what do you think's next for Keagan? I mean, obviously, he was at Supersport and Gavin and Stan Matthews came out saying that they could only choose they had to only sign one player and they chose to sign Vincent Pule instead of Keagan Dolly. And now, I mean, we haven't really heard any rumors about where he's going to go next. What do you think's next for him, Chief?
For Keagan now, it's going to be tough. I can tell you that from experience, when I moved from Sundowns to Ajax, a big change in salary, number one. A lot is expected. So when I look at Keagan and the package that he was on at Chiefs, I don't think there's any club in the country that can really afford that, looking at his age as well. So if Keagan still wants to play, I think he'll have to settle for something less. Or he might find himself in the lower division. Or if he gets a smaller team in the top flight, just to try and resurrect himself.
No way. There's no way Keagan Dolly is playing in the lower division. No chance.
Football.
What division?
Football will humble you, my guy. I was there, my God. People never thought I'd go there. I was there.
My brother, there's no way Keagan Dolly is playing in the NFD next season.
Yeah?
There's no way Keagan Dolly is playing in the NFD next season.
Hey,
not a chance.
They said no way Cheese is going there. I was there.
The man is talking from experience, Mikey.
But if he's
Thank
coming
you,
to the
Tep.
NFD, let him come to Cape Town Spurs. But there's no way it's cheesy. You can have my. There's no chance.
Okay, okay, Mikey. If I look at all the teams in the league, which club is going to afford Keagan unless he takes a very big salary cut? Because that's going to be a massive cut. Is he going to adjust to that? How is he going to react to that? Is he strong enough mentally to bounce back and say, look, I still have the quality in me? Because that's the question right now. I mean, for instance, SuperSport ended up signing Vinny Pule instead of Keagan. Now, if you rate the two players, Keagan's also been in the national setup. He's played abroad. I think his CV speaks more than what Vinny has. Not saying that Vinny is not a quality player. He's a quality, good player. But now, why did SuperSport go for Vinny? Is it the price tag? I cannot doubt the quality. They both have, brilliant left footers. So why didn't SuperSport sign Keagan? Could be the money issue, right? Could be the injuries, could be this, could be that. There's a lot of things that could be happening behind the scenes. But don't rule that out. If Keagan is going to move to a club, he's going to have to settle for a lesser salary because there's no any other team that will be able to pay what Chiefs is paying. He's already played for Sundowns, Chiefs. Unless Pirates come knocking and say, hey, Woza.
Tips, what do you think's next for Keagan?
Yeah, Mike, I think he's at a stage or point where he just wants to play soccer, he just wants to enjoy the game again. And I don't think the package is more focused. Of course, you want to earn the money, big money, but I think he's at a point where there's a Cape Town City, Stellenbosch doing well. You can whatever Chiefs say that he has to settle for a pay cut or salary cut. You can take that and rediscover your form, play football again, have a smile on your face, and you can always go back to the table and renegotiate, saying, guys, I'm doing well. And Mike, if you're doing well, there's demand. If you're doing well, the clubs in the Saudi, we're seeing our player moving to North Africa right now. So I think he's at a point where he just wants a chance. He just wants to be in the field. Looking at the Cape Town cities, the Stellenbosch is not doing bad. They competing now. They competing in Africa and in the semis, and they finished, in a good position in the league. So why not also have this cocooness around it in Gauteng?
Yeah.
So.
Could it
I
be
agree with you.
could it be the gatekeepers, Tsepo? There's gatekeepers. These people talk, guys. We all know that. The club bosses talk to each other. Coaches talk to each other. I mean, you might be a brilliant player, but something might be said about you like, nah, yeah, he's a good player, but don't sign him.
But what?
Just to frustrate you. So I just hope Keagan mentally is strong enough to say, I can move to a Stellies, I can move to this, to discover myself, enjoy my game. Let me finish off my career, with a good vibe, and just forget about all this negativity and all these backlashes that have happened at Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you guys. I think it's never a wrong time in your career to take a couple steps back and rediscover your form again. We've all done it. Had to rediscover ourselves. And South Africa fans have very short memories, so you need to get yourself back out there playing again and remind people what you're capable of. And it only takes a couple performances at a lesser known club, and then all of a sudden Keagan Dolly's back on the calendar, on the radar again of all the big clubs. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'll find his form again. I really hope he does, because we know how good he is. Guys, thank you again for all your insights and incredible banter, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Cheesy, sign us out, please, in your customary way.
Out, SoccerBeat lovers, you know what it is. It's that time. It's a give and take, yeah? One love.
Thanks, guys. Tips. See you on the next one. Guys, like and subscribe. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll keep giving you the latest and greatest information and news around South African football. Thanks for joining SoccerBeat. Let the beat do the talking.